Durham needs to speed it up, move it along, bring Hillary in and everyone else. It's been 3 years since he's been appointed. He's done some good work recently, but it's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what needs to be done. The other big news this week on corruption issues is Hillary Clinton. The Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee, which is the corporate operator for the Democratic Party. So when you think of the Democratic Party nationally, you should think of the Democratic National Committee, which is a key part of the party operation nationally. They agreed to settle a complaint with the Federal Election Commission about their hiding their role in the creation of the Steele Dossier, the fraudulent Steele Dossier. Now, the Federal Election Commission had received a complaint from a Dan Backer here in Washington, D.C. of the Coolidge-Reagan Foundation. They received it back in 2018 when it was first known that, became known that Fusion GPS, who created the dossier for the Clinton campaign and Democratic National Committee, had actually done that for the Clinton campaign and Democratic National Committee. Remember, they lied to us and withheld the information that this dossier was a creation of the Clinton campaign and Democratic Party. So the Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee gave money to this Perkins Coie, C-O-I-E, to pay Fusion GPS to create this fake dossier. And it was fake. They all knew it was fake. It was obviously fake. Anyone, if you ever even read it, you would have seen it was garbage. And they disguised that. They didn't tell anyone in the media. Well, they didn't, I shouldn't say they didn't tell anyone in the media. Certainly the public wasn't aware of this as it was being shopped around. Allegedly, they lied to the FBI. And they made it easier for the FBI to lie to the court when they sought a FISA warrant based on the dossier. They all knew it was from the Clinton operation, but by keeping it away from the public, the court wouldn't have the full understanding of who was behind it, because the FBI said it was, someone who didn't like Trump, but they didn't say it was the Clinton campaign. So they settled the case. So the DNC and the Clinton campaign settled the case. They were fined a little over $100,000, which is obviously isn't big money for those entities, but it's a significant legal settlement in the sense that they lied. They were caught lying, and rather than defend what they did on this core issue, they decided to settle. And what the law requires is that expenditures over $200, you have to describe them. And I'm going to read from one of the settlement documents here. Under the Federal Election Campaign Act of 1971, political committees are required to report the name and address of each person to whom they make expenditures or other disbursements aggregating more than $200 per calendar year or per election cycle for authorized committees, as well as the date, amount, and purpose of such payments. Commission regulations define purpose as a brief statement of description of why the disbursement was made, the purpose of disbursement the quote purpose of disbursement unquote entry, when considered along with the identity of the disbursement recipient, must be sufficiently specific to make the purpose of the disbursement clear. So the commission had a finding that there was probable cause to believe that there was these violations of the law and the regulations. And so what happened is the Clinton campaign and the DNC said, solely for the purpose of settling this matter expeditiously and to avoid further legal costs, respondent does not concede, or respondents, but will not further contest the commission's finding of probable cause to believe. So when they say they're settling it in a way of no contest. We're not going to challenge your finding that there's probable cause to believe you broke the law. Now, what does this mean? Well, it means they broke the law, practically speaking, or there's evidence they broke the law. And to me, Durham should be investigating and following up on these crimes that are evidenced in these filings. And we don't even have the full report yet. It's not going to be released for another 30 days or so. And of course, Donald Trump, the president, President Trump had just sued Hillary and a whole host of others on these very issues. So that lawsuit is made a bit stronger as a result of this disclosure. So there's a lot of corruption here. And it shows you that the dossier just wasn't sort of a political game and there's no harm, no foul. No, it was criminal. The dossier was used to obtain illicitly a warrant. The dossier and some of the work related to the dossier was created by a Russian agent who worked for Fusion GPS, that he just made it up. He's being prosecuted by Durham, which is a crime. And the question is Hillary going to be brought in by Durham, or are these others going to be brought in by Durham? And it further highlights that the purpose of these crimes are to target Trump, and Trump is a crime victim. He is a crime victim. They told the FEC, the Federal Elections Commission, in publicly available forms that are supposed to be accurate, we gave this law firm money for legal services. No, they did not. They were lying. They gave the part of the money to fund this smear operation, Fusion GPS's smear operation. And they basically admitted it in these documents. So Durham needs to speed it up, move it along, bring Hillary in and everyone else. It's been 3 years since he's been appointed. He's done some good work recently, but it's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what needs to be done. And along these lines, I want to tell you that there was a hearing this week in the Sussman matter, who was the lawyer for Hillary Clinton's campaign, who went and lied to the FBI in another matter, another smear related to Trump and Russia, or so has been alleged by Durham. And according to Politico, who covered the hearing, because Sussman, the lawyer, is trying to get the case dismissed, the Justice Department, Durham, told the court that the Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee are hiding information from Durham's investigators, citing privileges. So while the government of Joe Biden prosecutes people for citing privileges, namely Steve Bannon, while Congress, the Pelosi Rump Committee, wants to put people in jail for citing privileges to prevent testimony, you have Hillary and her campaign, the Hillary Clinton campaign, Democratic National Committee, citing privileges in a criminal investigation of their lawyers' activities. Now, I saw that in Politico. I highlighted that on Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, you should. I forget all the good things I say on Twitter, and sometimes I don't remember to say them all here online or on this video. So you should track us on Twitter and Parler and Getter and Truth Social and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, all of that. But unless you're watching my Twitter feed, you wouldn't have known about it. Not from anyone else in the media. I mean, Politico noted there was this battle here, but no one highlighted that you've got them trying to stop Durham from getting information about what they were up to with Trump. Don't you think that's big news? I think it's big news. Clinton corruption hasn't gone away. It's still here, and it's still being investigated by Durham, at least I hope it is, and certainly by Judicial Watch.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.